Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet B Rayne. My guest today is Christina Fletcher. She is an energy alignment coach, author, speaker, and podcast host dedicated to making spirituality habitually easy. She helps disillusioned women reignite their inner fire by helping them create balance, alignment, stability, no matter how busy their life is. Sounds amazing. I could probably use some of that. So, Christina, how did you get to where you're at today? What led you to help women in this arena?
Oh, it's great to be here, Violet. Thank you so much for having me on. Honestly, it was a long and windy path, as it so often is, I would say. But really, I was prowling around spirituality ever since I was very young. I was raised in the church, but I always felt there was a disconnect, and I would connect to something out there, from the young girl kind of being singing to the trees and connecting to nature. I kind of sensed that there was something else that I just had a calling to. And so I was always feeling around to what that was. And I saw one TV show when I was like about 11 or 12, and it taught me how to meditate. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try meditation, or I'll try this, or I'll try that. And after following kind of all my inclinations and studying religions in university and trying to understand what that calling was, I was lucky enough to finally have a university professor turn to me and was like, basically, Christina, you have to give this up, actually. There's no label that will fit you. You don't fit in anywhere. Rather, you're a mystic, and your spiritual connection is your spiritual connection. Go do that. I went, oh, okay. That's a good permission slip. I've never felt the feeling of freedom and isolation both at the same time. It's like, oh, I feel so free and I feel so alone. But I wasn't alone, because I did start developing my spiritual connection, my spiritual connection to my guides, as well as to my sense of the universe. And I really started getting to know myself. That connection then led to me actually meeting my husband 23 years ago. And actually, that's how I ended up over in the UK, because I'm originally Canadian. And it was this magical unearthing of this kind of everything happening all at once, and full of synchronicities and full of connection, which is beautiful and fantastic, and really opened my eyes to the potential of spirituality and the potential of spiritual alignment. And then life kind of hit full force as we ended up having two little girls within 10 months of each other. And we were between countries, not knowing to live in Canada or live in the UK. And real life happened. And as real life happened, my spiritual connection seemed to get quieter and quieter as I tried to fit in what I should be doing, what made sense to do. I fell into logic. Of course, my nervous system was totally triggered, and I felt rather just cut off from everything, trying to live the way I thought I should live. And it was in that state of after about 3 or 4 years, when our girls were little, that all of a sudden I was like, I can't live like this anymore. It's better to be happy than right. Forget it. I'm kind of done. And I started clawing my way back into that space of alignment. And it took a few years of actually leaning into the trust of that. At first, I was focusing on just even in my parenting of like, how do I actually trust this? I call it co-parenting with the universe. How do I actually connect to this connection of actually working with the universe and listening to my heart rather than all the shoulds, which is so many in parenting. And so after a few years, then it just kind of, we learned more about law of attraction. We developed more into quantum physics. We kind of expanded, my husband and I, together. And after the birth of our son, suddenly it all kind of landed into place. And then I started coaching, and I started writing about it, and I started really sharing what I was knowing. And that was my career path as a parent coach. And after that, then I transitioned after my kids grew up a little bit, and I was kind of done with talking about too much parenting. Still talk about parenting sometimes. But then after that, that was when I started really, really working as the energy alignment coach I am today. There you go.
I love,
Wind it up.
I love that. I love that. Well, you know what I find interesting is the disillusioned women, right? Because
Mhm.
you kind of mentioned that I was doing what logically I thought was right. Typically, what your family tells you you're supposed to be doing, your friends are doing it, your coworkers are doing it. So this is what I'm supposed to be doing. To know that, how do you tell people to understand when they're misaligned? What are some of the signs that women may have that they're not in alignment?
hmm Well, the interesting thing about the feeling of disillusionment is that you just feel there's a dejectedness to it. You just feel like you're off course, but it gets foggy. Like when you're in alignment, you feel light, you feel in flow, you feel passionate, you feel excited. And so the opposite of that and that sense of out of alignment is really, really stressed out, feeling strung out in all directions, feeling like you're never getting it all done and you're always chasing something and you don't even know what you're chasing. It's that sense of heightened adrenaline almost, like as an energy healer, I'll often notice that, when people are out of alignment, all their energy's up here. It's all in their head. They can't fully ground and feel present. And, you know, let's be honest, we all fall out of alignment sometimes. It's not like we are always in alignment once we've figured it out. I remember after meeting my husband, I kind of said to the universe, "Hey, I got this figured out. Now, what more could there be?" I was 23. There more was to come. It was kind of like, here, knock, figure it out now. But
That is true.
there, there's always this on off. That's why we're, as humans, that's why we come, is for that experience of feeling really on and really in connection, and then feeling out of that connection because then we know that connection. So it really is a question of knowing and observing how you're feeling. And if you start to feel like you're just chasing something and you don't even know what it is, if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you feel like there's this little calling of more that you just want to kind of squash down, then that means that you're out of alignment and you need to live your more.
I love that. So you talk about aligning the four worlds of yourself. What are the four worlds of yourself?
Yeah, so the four worlds of yourself is basically your mental world, your emotional world, your spiritual world, and your physical world. So the way I've kind of broken it down is, you know your seven chakras. So you have your seven energetic systems within your body. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized that these actually did divide into your four parts of you. So, you have your solar plexus and your root chakra, your sense of who you are in this world. And that really is your physical world of yourself. That's your nervous system, which doesn't get in spiritual conversations. We don't often talk about the nervous system enough. Nervous system, if your nervous system's triggered, if you're in a survival state, if you're in that sense of fight or flight, the spiritual world, if you're working on other parts of you, it's not going to land because you don't feel safe to do so. So working on your physical energetic world creates the safety for the change, for the enlightenment, for the expansion, for the love. You have to work on that physical energetic world. So it's your solar plexus and your root. You have your emotional world, which is your heart, of course, and then also your throat chakra. So it's this whole area, making sure that you are feeling open, releasing any trapped emotion. I do a lot with emotion code and different energy healings for emotion. So making sure that you feel open and free and expansive in your emotional world so you can listen to that wisdom within yourself. So it's like, oh yeah, this feels exciting. Oh no, this feels heavy. You have to have that clear and in alignment. Your mental world is of course, your third eye and your sacral chakra, which I've actually found is very, very linked. And then you have of course, your crown, which is your spiritual energetic world, and that's your connection to source. So I always see it as, like you kind of have those when things are out of alignment, and then all of a sudden you kind of slot them in place, and you just feel that flow of energy through all four of your worlds. Then you are whole in yourself. You have the insights from your heart and from your mind, from your sacral chakra is all kicking in all that information, but you also feel safe and steady to receive it because that's often the key point. It's hard to manifest things if you don't feel safe in your body.
Well, and if you're not grounded, if you're not physically
Exactly.
present and grounded in your body. So a lot of spiritual people or people working in this realm, they're way up here. And you
Mhm.
can't create. You can imagine it, you can visualize it, you can do all that, but you can't bring it into the physical
Exactly.
if you're not grounded and present in your physical body. It just doesn't
Exactly.
happen. And
No, and
most
yeah.
yeah, most spiritual people would rather be in the ethers instead of being here, and that doesn't really work long term.
It doesn't. It turns into an escape. It's very easy to use spirituality as an escape. As I often say that I like to help people get spirituality off the hobby shelf. And it's because it's not about the escape. It's not like, oh, I really need to make some time for my spirituality. It's like, no, you actually, as a human being, you are a spiritual energetic force and you're here to be human. So allow that energy to flow through you, show up fully as yourself in your everyday and bring spirit into everything. Spirituality is a practical fuel to your life rather than something that you step aside to do.
You talk about practical spirituality, and you've touched a little bit on that already. So how do we make it practical? How do we incorporate that into our everyday life?
Ooh, yeah, great question. One of my favorite questions. Um, it's knowing that it's always accessible. So to me, I always compare spirit like electricity that flows through the walls. It's always available, always accessible, but you do have to actually plug your device in order to access it. So you have to plug in to access your spiritual source and oneness, however you perceive that to be. And that doesn't take very long. So rather than the practical applications of this would be as simple as knowing that by setting the intention that you're going to plug in, you actually do plug in. I have one client who just loves to just be like a quick hello to spirit is all she can basically handle in her busy day. And it's like, yeah, that works. She says it transforms her life. As long as she just goes, hi, we're good to go. Let's do this. And she knows that spirit is walking beside her throughout the day. It can be as simple as grounding. You focus on your feet and you allow yourself to fully plug into the earth. I always remind people where attention goes, energy flows. So if you put your attention on your feet, you will immediately feel all of your energy flow down into the earth, down into the ground, and you'll be grounded, which then aligns all of your energetic worlds. And you can do that in the grocery store. I've done that in numerous places. So it's finding these quick little tools that you can be in a crowded space, that you can be running around during your busy day, and then all of a sudden stop and be check in with yourself and be like, am I fully here? What do I need right now? And you're rarely going to be able to be like, oh well, I need that 20-minute meditation, or I need to go do that energy healing, or it's not in our busy lives, we don't actually have that. That's a luxury. And it's good luxury, and I highly recommend doing it. But at the same time, you want to be able to go, I need to connect within myself right here, right now. I need to plug in however best I can, which means that it's activated within you throughout anything you're dealing with.
I love that. Another thing that I tell people is just setting your intention for the day. Just taking that moment in the morning as you're getting ready to say, okay, spirit, my intention for today, or the energy I would like to bring in, or the energy I would like to be in alignment or connect with, here it is.
Yeah.
Another thing is, spirit, let me know you're with me today. Show me this sign throughout the day, and then just forget it and go about your day, and then get really excited when spirit shows up and goes, hello, we're
I
here.
love that.
Here's your sign,
Yeah.
right? Because that's very meaningful, especially when you're just stepping into your spirituality. And you said earlier, and you feel isolated or alone because a lot of people around you may not be in the same place that you are, may not understand what you're trying to do. So just saying, hey, Spirit, I need to know that you're with me today. Show me a squirrel, show me a moon, show me the sun, whatever symbol you want, and then just pay attention, because somewhere throughout the day, there's going to be a commercial, a song, a photo, a card, a
Absolutely.
person. Something's going to happen. You're going to be like, oh, that was it. That was my sign.
Absolutely. Oh yes. I love playing those games. It's lovely to know that the spirit like loves to play and loves to surprise you spontaneously, right? It's like I'm going to find the most random way of giving you this sign so that you like have no questions. I remember playing that once and asking for some clover. I was like, 4-leaf clover, go ahead, do it. And then I was out with my family and I saw I was in this gift shop and they had this jar of like herbs. And then it was like, grow your own clover. And it was covered in 4-leaf clover. And I was like, seriously?
Here we are. Here we are. Pay attention. We're here to see you. I love that. I love that.
Brilliant.
So one of the other things you talk about is getting to know your heart's wisdom. How do we get to know the wisdom of our heart?
Well, it's a long-term relationship you have to develop. It really is. It takes nourishing to know, you know, over the years that I've been doing this, I've noticed that we tell so many stories about how we perceive the heart. We talk about the broken heart, we talk about the hard heart, we talk about the wounded heart, heart walls. We talk about all of this our hearts as a space of suffering or kind of the receiver of something, and it's very vulnerable. It's like the receiver of all the hurt. I have a fragile heart. And having done a little bit more study on it, I realized that really the heart is not fragile or vulnerable in the least. She's incredibly strong. I mean, studies show that even the electric magnetic field of your heart is about 5 times stronger than that of your head. It's a massive energetic force. And she kind of just sits there processing everything you're experiencing. And she can do it very well. But sometimes she gets choked up with a little bit with all the stories of how she's broken and how we're trying to protect our hearts. And so really it starts with knowing that she's actually doing a really good job. And I always encourage people to actually just start with like hand on your heart, allowing the feeling of your heart rising up to your hand rather than feeling like you have to put your hand on your heart. Allow your heart to rise to your hand. And from that place, just give her some loving awareness. So it is a question of, I see you. I thank you. You're doing a great job. You're processing a lot and you're standing with me. The heart experiences everything you're experiencing, process the emotion, tries to release whatever it can release, drops other information into your solar plexus to help forge you as you. And she's always communicating to your brain. The other studies have shown that, the messages between the head and the heart, the majority are actually from your heart to your head, but we always listen to our heads. So it's kind of like broken telephone happening, where your heart's like, I've got a great idea. And then your head goes, okay, we're actually doing it from safety and from my triggered nervous system, and we're going to give you this idea instead. It's this continual battle for the microphone in a lot of ways. But your heart still keeps giving her guidance and sharing her wisdom. And she does so with how things feel. That's a really good way of doing it. We talked about alignment and how you find your alignment and how that feels. She will tell you. She will let you know through a feeling of this feels lighter. This feels more open. This feels expansive. Even just looking for indicators of your heart will tell you this feels expansive versus this feels constrictive. You're blocking me in. There's little indicators that she'll give you just with how things feel. So it's a question of first starting off, building that relationship, and then learning her signs, learning her indication, and learning how to trust her. It's the same as any relationship, but you're building a relationship within your deepest self.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Share with us, Christina, some of the things that you offer and how people can connect with you, including your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So my podcast is called Showing Up Whole. And we're actually in my fifth season, which I cannot believe, but there's been some hiatuses along the way. And then I do offer one-on-one coaching where I mentor people through connecting that with their inner voice. So making sure that they are living in alignment to themselves and showing up whole as who they came to be. So we work through mindset tools and energetics. There's energy healing through every one of my sessions and range of different practices and tools that you can use. I also have a membership program called the Energy Reset Circle, where we meet every Sunday for meditation and energy healing and practical tools. And it's a beautiful group of women that are over there as well. So yeah, lots of different things. And of course, I have all my social medias as well, which are always active.
Awesome. Well, those listening or watching will have the website throughout the video and also in the description area on all the podcasts, whether you're listening by audio or watching it by video. We hope that you will like, comment, and share this with people that you think would benefit from that. We love our listeners, and we hope that you will come back and follow us on your favorite channel. And thank you, Christina, for being on the show. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been such a joy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. An absolute delight.
Oh, thank you. And those listening, I hope you have a sacred and magical week and day, and that we'll see you soon on one of the other shows that we have releasing. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Bye now.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.